What is going on, people, and welcome back to the channel. For those that don't know, I recently put a cross pipe on my Aston Martin Vantage, which means I really need a remap, but I've been waiting out on the remap because I knew that I wanted a GT4 airbox kit so I could basically remove the airboxes and just put filters there. Now, I've been waiting for quite a while for one of these to pop up on eBay, and I'm assuming when it does eventually pop up on eBay, it's going to be a bit too expensive. So I'm sat here waiting for a part, and I thought, what the hell? Why am I waiting for this when I can just make my own? And I can probably make it a little bit better and make copies for everyone else in the Aston Martin community. So follow me along this journey where I design an Aston Martin Delete airbox kit, and hopefully the end result is a lighter, better, more equipped airbox system for the Aston Martin Vantage than what rolled out of the factory. First things first, let's remove the airboxes from the car so I've got something to... So we've had a short intermission there. It was bath time for me, so I've just put two kids to bed and we're back on the Aston Martin Airbox Delete. Now, I did sit there outside with the car thinking of ways I could do this. There's more than one way to skin a cat. One of the key points to this filter is it needs to remove weight. So looking at the airbox, I've got it here. There's a little metal bracket, basically. The metal bracket mounts the airbox to the front side of the crash can. It mounts with 3 bolts. And that metal bracket, to me, looks like an afterthought. It looks like Aston Martin made this airbox, they wanted to make it fit multiple cars, which it does, so the metal bracket is the solution to that problem. Realistically, we probably should have created some airboxes that mounted without a metal bracket and just fit this car as it should. But anyway, that aside, I really don't want to retain that metal bracket because it's weighty, it's cumbersome, it's bigger than it needs to be. And like I say, one of the perks of doing this airbox delete is that I'm going to remove weight from the vehicle. Now, one of the next things about this, and I know people have tried to do this in the past, and in my opinion, it's not always been that successful. I need to find a good filter to model it around because it seems, I've been reading through some forums, and it seems the filter is always the afterthought to this problem. So the people that have developed a part like this, they're like, right, okay, we've got this working. Now what filter should we put on it? So I'm going to find a filter and model my design around a known good filter. My choice of filters are Pro Ram. They are Ram Air. Some people might not have heard of them. They're a very, very good premium filter brand. I hope they do the size that I want. They're pretty flexible. They do a lot of modular design, so you can put inserts in to make the internal diameter change. I'm unsure if they're worldwide, but if I do sell this kit, I will be sending it worldwide, so that's not a problem for you if you're not in my country. But that's my first protocol, Ram Air. But then after that, I maybe will go down the route of Gaydon Air. And secondly, when I'm doing the filter, I'm definitely going to try and stay away from oiled filters. That's for 2 reasons. Reason 1 being, I've had experience with VW filters in the past, and I know when you mount an oiled filter so close to a MAF, the oil can interfere with the MAF sensor, and it can throw up all sorts of problems. And the last thing you want to be doing is creating a solution to a problem that then creates another problem by breaking your MAF. So I'm looking for dry filters, that's for sure. And I know Pro Ram do filters that can either be run dry or oiled. And secondly, oiled filters, again, you know, the reason we oil filters is because it's better at catching those debris in the air. But that's a double-edged sword, because if you've got an exposed filter pointing towards the ground, which in essence these filters are, that oiled filter is going to stick, everything's going to stick to it that normally probably wouldn't stick to it, but because it's oiled, it's now going to stick to it. Of course, there'd be a vacuum there when you're running the vehicle, but ideally, major debris will fall off when the vehicle's then turned off. Having an oil filter will cause things to stick to it, which again, I don't want to do. I don't want to go down that route. I've experienced problems with that in the past. Yeah, some people might run them, fine, good for you, but I'm definitely not doing that. And next is the mounting of it. So basically, it's quite a simple design. If I just pull you this tube, now this tube connects the flexible hose that is in the engine bay that you can see when you look in the engine bay to the airbox, and then inside the airbox there is a velocity stack that basically I mean, you can see it a little bit there. That mounts it to this big weird filter that doesn't go on anything else. You know, that's fine. The cheapest airbox delete you could possibly do is just take the bottom of your airbox off and get a filter that fits this and put it on there and find some way of securing it. That's almost a free one. You'd just be paying for your filters. But we're not going to do that. I want to make it look neater than that. So then the design problem is, how do I mount a filter to where that box were? Now initially I thought I could maybe just like trace the outline of that and redesign a piece of plastic that looks like that and mounts to where these metal brackets mount. But again, it's going to be a big lump of plastic. And then I thought, you know what I've got in my garage? I've got a spare crush can. I know, right? Who's got spare crush cans in the garage? But I've got a spare crush can. So I can model a nice piece that goes along this and fits into them 2 bolts that mount it to the vehicle. So it'll be super secure. I've got the perfect material in mind for it. It's nylon reinforced with carbon fibre. Really good around vehicles, absorbs vibrations very well, very robust. It's got enough flex in there that means it doesn't crack. Great material. Very hard to print with, very hard to work with, but when done properly, it looks fantastic and it lasts a long, long time. Now I have done something like this in the past. I did put a big stupid filter on a VW transporter. This is hopefully going to be nowhere near as complex as that design, because I've designed a full velocity stack that houses the filter, that houses the MAF sensor and the O2 sensor. This is going to be nowhere near as complicated. I'm going to try and use as much as I can. I'm going to try and remove as much as I can to lose all the weight. And hopefully at the end of it, we're going to have a premium filter mounted to my car in a very nice way, and it should be pretty cheap. And by the way, before I go into my little virtual environment and start designing stuff, if you have any ideas for me to design stuff for other Aston Martins, DB9s, that sort of stuff, I already design, I already do the phone holder, I already do the grille supports, I do that sort of stuff. But I'm always looking to expand my 3D printing shop. I like doing it quite a lot. It also means I don't have to hold any stock. So as soon as someone orders one, I then make it rather than having stock of stuff, because I'm just in a little room here trying to make things work. But if you do have any ideas, then do drop me a message either here or go over to the Aston Martin DIY community Facebook group, which I'll tag down below. So that is it designed. I've got the piece in my hand here. This isn't the final piece, this is more of a prototype. It still looks fantastic. Excuse the noise in the background, the printer is going on another project right now. But there's just 2 things I need to do with this now. Like I say, I've tried to incorporate the mounting mechanism. Basically, the option was always there to use cable ties to mount the pipework to this. I didn't really want to use cable ties because that almost defeats the purpose of this existing, because if you're going to go the cable tie route, you can just wrap a cable tie round the pipe onto the chassis leg, which will hold it, and to be honest, that will do a fine job, and it's free. So if you are interested in doing this mod and you don't want to spend any money, then that's definitely your route to it. So I didn't want to use cable ties because, like, almost why do you need the bracket? You just put a big cable tie around it, ratchet it really tight, it'll hold it exactly where you leave it. There's not a problem. So for this now, we've got the part off the printer. Looks fantastic. I've still got a few more things that I want to tune with the profile, but This sort of stuff's solid, this nylon carbon fibre. I love working with it. Like I say, very difficult to get right, but when you get it right, yeah, they look like this. We're going to need to scavenge two things from our old airbox setup, and that is one of these, which is it's half threaded and it's got quite sharp threads on it to cut into plastic, which are really useful for us because we're going to use only half the threads. And we're also going to need to get one of the M6 retaining bolts. These are what retain your existing airbox, so you get two of them when you remove the airbox and you get a bunch of these. So just set two of them aside, and also, which is going to be included if I do end up selling this, you're going to need one nylock nut. Now this nylock nut goes into this conveniently placed hex hole, and if we do it so the nylock's pointing out and just slot it in there, this is a tapered hole, so if we go around the other side now, pop our M8 bolt in, and if we just tighten it up until it grabs the nut, and then we're just going to wrench this right down, and basically the bottom of this taper here is a fraction of a mil smaller than the actual nut itself, so once it's in there, it's in nice and secure. You'll feel it bottom out. That's it bottomed out there. Now we can back this back out. It's a little bit stiff because we're on the nylock, but we can back it fully out now it's all seated. Now there, you might be able to see it on the camera, but the thread's nice and square in there, and that's not going anywhere. So now the next step is to take our little arm, what we've got, which in essence this is going to go over here like this, and we need to slot this in. But what I suggest is fully back it on itself, do a 180 so you can hold it with your finger and thumb like that. And now this is probably the most sensitive part of it all, because the weakest part of this entire model is obviously going to be this little tab here. Now nylon is strong stuff, but of course when it's thin it's still going to be not as strong as when it's thick, so this is the bit where you want to be mindful of. So just try and hold everything as tight as you can while you're doing this bit. So I'm holding tight that way, and I'm also placing my thumb on here. And you don't want to do that too tight because you want to have a little bit of movement on this bit here. But you can just see there the flex that this nylon can give, which is great because we want to grab this pipe, so we want to get as much surface contact as possible. And then obviously for the install, we're going to tighten that bolt up right there. Just before we go out to the car, I forgot one thing. I forgot to show you the new air filters. So I managed to get them from ProRam, which is fantastic news because I love these filters, really high quality filters. But I'll just show you one and compare it to the original quickly. So I'll just pull the filter out. Now the dimensions of this are almost identical to the original filter, except it's a cone shape. So the height of the actual filter is still 150. The width at the widest part is still 150. As you can see there, they're pretty much identical. Obviously it tapers off towards the end, so you're losing a bit of surface area there. However, you've got a recession in the top that makes up for that surface area loss. Now, if I were going to be super technical about it, we could measure the surface area of this cylinder, measure the surface area of this cone and this cone, add it together, compare the two. However, I know that this is going to have faster flowing air through this surface area than this paper filter. But these are reusable filters. You clean them out, you give them a good wash, whatever, put them back on. However, one thing I must say, you can either run these wet or dry, and what that means to people that don't know is you can either run them with oil or without oil. Now I'm going to run mine without oil, and that is because the mass sensor is so close to this, and if you put oil in this, the oil eventually makes its way up the pipe, hits the mass sensor, gunks it up. This diameter is exactly the right diameter for the pipework we need. Took a bit of finding to get these. They're not that expensive. I believe they're about £38. If you're ordering from America, which I do ship to America, I actually ship to the whole world, I will source these for you. just in case these aren't in the country where you live. But a super tight fit. It's actually quite difficult to get on. We're going to retain the Jubilee clamp, of course. Anyone that just push fits these on and leaves them on to hold by their own weight, that's silly. Do not do that. Use the clamp. Even the clamp is not ideal for that pipe work, but it's going to do a fantastic job. And these ridges here fit really well with, you'll see when I'm fitting it onto the pipe work, but these ridges fit really well with the little rubber O-ring that come out of the airbox, which normally seats it, but that acts as a bit of retainer, so this clamp can go on the other side of that rubber O-ring. So we're going to take our filter and we're going to, I'm going to line this up with the MAF sensor, so I'm going to make sure that the Pro Ram is lined up with that, just for visuals. And as you can see, it is a super tight fit. And now the trick is with this Jubilee clamp is we want it as high up as possible to ensure that we sit the Jubilee clamp just slightly above that O-ring that's inside. And then we're going to tighten that up on there. So I'm going to get my Pro Ram symbol just in line with this tab. I'm unsure on the correct way of doing this as of yet, but I know for sure that we're going to want to take this little bracket off and open it. So and if you are interested in a fitting guide for this, I'm going to do a specific fitting guide just on the other side for anyone that maybe buys a product that doesn't want to watch my YouTube channel. I appreciate that I'm not for everyone. So once this bolt's out, I'm going to rotate that out of the way. I'm going to put the bolt back through there, but just have it so it's open. We're just going to put this in and hopefully seat this hose, rotate it round. So then we're going to take our bracket and we're going to put it round the back of this pipe. And it's a snap fit anyway, it's a tight fit. You don't really need that bracket that goes over the top. It's not really that essential. But you can see now how we need to rotate this pipe to make it sit correctly. And then once it's in there, we're going to take our M10 bolts, place them through here and just finger tighten them. So I'm just going to finger tighten everything now. Like I say, this is the first test fit. So before we tighten it up, I just want to make sure that this bit of the pipework here is not touching this metal. In my instance, it's not, but if you slide this too far down, it's going to, and that's going to eventually wear a little bit of a hole through your pipework, which is not what we want. So just make sure it's slid up enough. A good indicator is that the MAF sensor is touching the bracket there. Now at this point, I'm just going to nip this up. Again, like I said, we don't want to be going too tight on that, but just enough that means it doesn't slide down. Then we're just going to get a 10mm ratchet and tighten these up, make sure it's pushed against the chassis leg. That is solid. And we're going to plug our MAF sensor back in just on top here. And there we are, that's it fully fitted. It's pretty solid. There's a couple of amendments I'm going to make for the final piece, but really happy with this material. You know, the material might change as well. I'm always discovering new things and new materials to make stuff with. It just so happens that this one's my favourite at the moment, the nylon reinforced with carbon fibre. Very strong and looks really good once it's printed. But now all that's done on this side, I've got to do the same again on the other side. But I think that's it for this video. We got an idea, I've designed it, I've made a prototype, and now I'm going to test them out for a little bit and hopefully provide them for the rest of the world. I'm not going to show you how to put it all back together. If you're interested in the fitting guide, then do watch my other video, which is just going to be how to fit this product. There's going to be a video that I'm going to list with selling the product. So if you are interested in that, then go check it out. If you haven't already, do subscribe to the channel. And let me know what you think in the comments down below. I'm always interested in a little bit of feedback. Maybe you've got an idea to make this a little bit better. So do let me know that, and I always do implement upgrades. You know, some of my designs are on like version 6, so I'm definitely not shy of changing. I don't think I've always got the best idea from the get-go. Anyway, other than that guys, I'll catch you in the next video.